provides that the New York State Gaming Commission shall consist of 7 members appointed by the governor by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. 4 members confirmed by the New York State Senate are necessary to afford the commission an ability to establish a quorum and undertake action. This present meeting of the commission is now called to order. Ms. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
John Crotty,
Here.
Sylvia Hamer,
Here.
Martin Mack,
Here.
Peter Machete,
Here.
Marissa Shorenstein,
Here.
Jerry Skirnick.
Here. Ms. Secretary, please have the record.
Will the record reflect that Brian Dwyer is here?
Oh, she didn't call you?
Chairman.
You were given.
Okay.
My apologies, Chairman.
I've been in worse. Thank you.
Ms. Secretary, please have the record reflect that a quorum of qualified members is present, thus enabling the transaction of business. While all commissioners are together in New York, many staff are in Schenectady. We have no visual to Schenectady.
Need to turn your camera on, Kristen.
Scott, can you turn the camera on?
Oh, they don't have to.
It was on earlier.
You're not there, Peter.
Exactly.
There we are now.
Here.
There we go. Hi, everybody.
Oh, I wasn't in that fancy.
Many staff are in Schenectady. Bilateral visual and oral communications between New York and Schenectady have been established. Chairman?
Minutes of the commission meeting conducted on June 24, 2024 have been provided to the members in advance. At this time, I'd like to ask the members if there are any edits, corrections, or amendments. Hearing none, Secretary, please let the record reflect the minutes were accepted. I now call upon our Executive Director, Mr. Williams, to make his Executive Director's report.
I only have 2 short items to talk about today. One is a website refresh. Beginning on October 1st, the commission will have a new public website with improved accessibility and functionality. The new site will feature regularly updated and organized content from each of the division of the agency, as well as a more consistent overall look and feel in line with the New York State web and brand guidelines. Overall, the commission's new site will be more accurately showcased to the public the substantial work that is done day to day by commission staff. The current site, as anyone who visits it knows, is home to a wealth of information and documents, but it's disorganized and outdated. In addition to the 3 popular databases that we maintain, the commission's new website will also feature regularly updated databases of gaming division notices of violation. The searchable, sortable database will include the applicable notices of violation so that interested parties may review the circumstances of any violation resulting in a monetary fine against a licensed gaming operator. Of main significance to the frequent visitors to the commission's website is a change to the interface with the 3 public databases: horse racing licensing, horse racing license rulings, and equine injury, incident, and death database. Users will be directed to the same information, but it's now going to be hosted on the New York Open Data portal at open.ny.gov. The Open Data portal gives users the ability to search, explore, and download and share information from these databases. This also allows individuals more easily an ability to export data and perform qualitative and quantitative analysis. Frequent users to the databases can go to open.ny.gov and familiarize themselves with the interface so that they can take advantage of the various benefits it offers. You also want to update any bookmarks to the databases after our live date, which remains October 1st. The other item I want to mention is a little bit about Belmont redevelopment. We've talked about it on numerous occasions, and while the Belmont redevelopment project itself is under the Franchise Oversight Board, so much of what we do on a day-to-day basis relative to horse racing involves Belmont, so I thought it would be of interest to everyone. The Franchise Oversight Board is going to soon conduct monthly web-streamed public informational meetings regarding the redevelopment project progress. These discussions are intended to provide a clear understanding of activity that has occurred in the previous 30 days. And since it's occurring inside the Belmont property itself, it might be more difficult for individuals who don't have special access to understand what's going on. So what we're going to end up doing is an overview on the development timeline and any changes that have occurred since the previous meeting, material project changes, a spending overview at a very high level, a discussion of the major contracts executed, let, and expired, a minority-owned, women-owned, and service-disabled, veteran-owned business utilization discussion, and a spend discussion, workforce mobilization by industry and union representation, and a discussion on the status of the 10 quality of life projects that NYRA has committed to developing. The initial meeting is expected to shortly follow the turn of the calendar to October, and when scheduled, notice and links will be provided on the landing page of the Franchise Oversight Board. I presume Lee will also put a link somewhere on our page as well for anyone looking for that. Mr. Chairman?
New York State Racing, thank you, Mr. Williams, for that. New York State Racing Mutual Wagering and Breeding Law 104.19 authorizes the commission to promulgate rules and regulations that it deems necessary to carry out its responsibilities. To that regard, the commission will from time to time promulgate rules and rule amendments pursuant to the State Administrative Procedure Act. Today, we have one rule for the adoption and consideration. Mr. Williams.
For commission consideration is adoption of amendments to existing rules regarding the use of whips in harness racing. The proposed amendments would require that a driver keep a line in each hand, except as necessary to adjust equipment, while racing or training or at any time the horse is being driven on the track. The proposal would also further define the allowable urging during a race and conduct that would be considered excessive or indiscriminate use of the whip. Kicking and foot out of stirrup will also be further defined for clarity in that a driver who removes a foot from the stirrups would be treated as if a driver were found to have kicked a horse, and conduct would be considered a kick violation if a driver makes contact with the horse while the feet are in or out of the stirrups. Finally, the proposal would establish penalties for these offenses, allow for consideration of offenses in other jurisdictions, and would constrain judges' discretion in setting such penalties. Commission rules currently provide that drivers may carry a whip of a certain length, which may be used in a conventional manner. Drivers are prohibited from kicking, and drivers must keep a line in each hand from the start of the race until 1/4 of 1 mile before the race finish. Adding the requirements that lines must be kept in separate hands while racing, training, or at any other time while driving a horse on a track premises, and that the use of the line must be restricted to forearm and wrist action and not raised above the shoulder, will provide clear what is permissible and will also bring New York in line with many other racing jurisdictions as well as the United States Trotting Association model rules. Adding a set penalty structure for any violation of this rule would ensure that any successive offense within 1 year concerning whipping, kicking, or urging after an offense at a United States or Canadian racetrack would result in an increased penalty. Furthermore, the proposal would make clear that any indiscriminate use of the whip could subject the driver to license revocation. The proposed penalty structure would provide greater consideration of past offenses, establish uniformity among New York's racetracks, and is intended as a further safeguard to ensure the health and safety and welfare of racehorses. The commission published a notice of proposed rulemaking in the State Register of June 18th, meaning public comment period expired on August 19th. No comments were received. Staff recommends that the commission adopt this rulemaking.
Commissioners, any questions on the adoption of the amendments regarding whip use in harness racing? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. I do want to particularly acknowledge Commissioner Machetti's role in this over the course of my tenure here for the last couple of years. He's been really very good about educating the rest of us about the use of the whip and with the proper way of horses being carried and particular penalties. So Commissioner, I want to thank you for your work on this. Going on, the consideration, the application of Penn Sports Interactive LLC doing business as ESPN Bet, a subsidiary of Penn Entertainment, an acquisition of WSI US LLC. Next item on the agenda regards discussion of Penn National Ownership Acquisition for Wynn Interactive. I asked Mr. Williams to set out the discussion by providing historical context regarding the Wynn consideration and approval, the proposed transaction, and the process of consideration of this transaction. And I just want to again congratulate the staff for an incredible job on this proposal and the work they put into it. It is my understanding that its license will remain with the same entity that currently holds it, and Penn is seeking approval as the new owner on this ongoing license holding entity. Mr. Williams.
Chapter 59 of the laws of 2021 amended the New York State Racing Parimutuel Wagering and Breeding Law, sections 1367, and added 1367A to authorize mobile sports wagering when the sports wager is made through virtual or electronic means from a location within New York and is transmitted to and accepted by electronic equipment located at a licensed gaming facility. The statute directed the commission to conduct a competitive bidding process to award licenses to mobile sports wagering platform providers. Pursuant to that authority, on July 9th, 2021, commission staff issued a request for applications, or RFA, to award a license to at least 2 mobile sports wagering platform providers, such that the result would be hosting of no less than 4 mobile sports wagering operators. In response to the bids received, an evaluation committee advanced for licensing as a platform provider, Sports Information Services Limited, doing business as Canby, with American Wagering, Inc., doing business as Caesars Sportsbook, Empire Resorts, Inc., doing business as Resorts World Bet, PointsBet New York, LLC, doing business as PointsBet, Rush Street Interactive, NY, LLC, doing business as Rush Street Interactive, and WSI US LLC, doing business as WinBet, as platform providers and/or operators, and Betfair Interactive US LLC, doing business as FanDuel Sportsbook, as an additional platform provider and operator, with Bally's Interactive LLC, doing business as BallyBet, MGM LLC, and DraftKings as platform providers and operators. Chapter 59 of the laws of 2021 did not create a new licensing scheme for mobile sports wagering. Rather, the RFA and proposed rules by the commission identified platform providers and operators to be licensed equivalent to casino vendor enterprises. On November 2nd, 2021, the commission met and accepted the licensure recommendations of the evaluation committee. Later that same meeting, the commission adopted rules governing, among other things, various licensing requirements. Staff was left, consistent with practice, with evaluating and determining whether and when each platform provider and their operators were qualified for the appropriate license. A subsequent evaluation found all platform providers and their operators suitable for conditional licensing and were accordingly licensed. The lone substantive change in ownership since that initial round occurred on October 3rd, 2023, when the commission considered and unanimously approved FBG Enterprises OpCo LLC, doing business as Fanatics Betting and Gaming, a subsidiary of Fanatics Holdings, Inc., acquisition of PointsBet USA subsidiary, PointsBet New York LLC. Today, we have Penn Entertainment Incorporated, which operates 43 gaming establishments and has, through its subsidiary, Penn Sports Interactive LLC, purchased WSI US LLC, which includes the New York operation of WinBet. Providing the commission approves, Penn would be the new owner of the ongoing license holding entity operating as a mobile sports betting or wagering platform provider and mobile sports wagering operator. Penn is a public corporation traded on the NASDAQ stock market. Collectively, Penn operates 43 properties in 20 states online sports wagering in 19 jurisdictions, and iGaming in 5 jurisdictions. In August 2023, Penn entered into an exclusive long-term strategic alliance with ESPN Inc. and ESPN Enterprises Incorporated relating to online sports betting within the United States. As with their other mobile sports wagering ventures, if approved, they would operate in New York as ESPN Bet. Penn Sports Interactive LLC is a wholly owned subsidiary of Penn Interactive Ventures LLC, which in turn is a wholly owned subsidiary of Penn Entertainment Incorporated. As mentioned, Penn Entertainment Incorporated is publicly owned, with the largest shareholders being FMR LLC, Vanguard Group Incorporated, HG Vora Capital, BlackRock Inc., and Bamco Inc. Following review, the Bureau of Licensing determined all but HG Vora Capital are passive owners and qualify for a passive investor waiver. HG Vora Capital has submitted a full gaming application along with Penn Entertainment Incorporated, Penn Interactive Ventures LLC, and Penn Sports Interactive LLC. Staff has reviewed the license applications filed by each against the criteria detailed in New York Racing Parimutuel Wagering and Breeding Law, Section 1318, and have identified no information that would reasonably prohibit the issuance of a conditional approval of Penn Sports Interactive LLC to operate a mobile sports betting platform or to conduct mobile sports wagering operations in New York. From an occupational licensing perspective, Commission standards for licensing require that each mobile sports wagering platform provider and operator are licensed as a casino vendor enterprise using the standards found in Racing Parimutuel Wagering and Breeding Law, Section 1326, and Commission Rules Part 5303 and 5307. Commission staff identified principals and key management officials requiring key occupational license and secured necessary paperwork from over 1 dozen principals or key personnel. All materials have been reviewed by the Licensing Bureau pursuant to the licensing criteria standards of Racing Law, Section 1323-2A and 1323-2B for informational deficiencies, criminal history, financial stability, and character and fitness. After substantive review of all licensing material, consistent with the review conducted for all initial platform providers and operators, Commission Licensing Bureau staff have determined the submissions are full and complete and no disqualifying elements have been identified. Practically, ESPN Bet plans to launch using its proprietary technology stack on servers housed at Resorts World Catskill. This server has redundant network infrastructure provided by 2 different internet providers and is continually self-tested with systems and organizational control type 2 threat hunting and distributed denial of service attack detection. ESPN Bet will use advanced standard 256 encryption for the communications to and from the server. Penn Sports Interactive LLC had provided internal controls, house rules, back-end reporting tools and commission access, responsible game plans, and know your customer vendors for customer confirmation. Division of Gaming staff have reviewed all operational components of the proposed ESPN Bet operation in a manner consistent with the review conducted for the initial platform providers and operators and have determined that they meet all standards necessary for operation. Accordingly, staff recommends approval of the transaction. Should there be any questions today, with us in Schenectady are the Manager of Licensing, Christy Phillips, Division of Gaming Director, Tom Annapolis, and Division Deputy Directors, Jim Gugas and Scott McClear. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize that with us today is Chris Rogers, the Executive Vice President, Chief Strategy and Legal Officer, and Secretary at Penn Entertainment. To Mr. Rogers, you're welcome. Would you stand up over there? That'd be secure. You can sit. Yeah, that'd be fine. That way we can talk to you. Before we get a motion, I want to ask just a couple of questions, and then maybe some of the commissioners have some as well. This commission has been very, very worried and upset about the promotion of sports betting on college campuses. I'd like to know what your company's thoughts on that, and whether you would give us a representation that you will not enter into any agreements with college campuses in terms of promotion.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd just like to thank you for the consideration of the commission and recognize all the hard work for staff that has gone into planning for this meeting. Yes, look, we as a company are committed to avoiding promotion of sports betting on college campuses. This is an issue very near to our heart, given our partnership with ESPN, which has various college activities, including College Game Day. Our commitment at Penn, in addition to our partners at ESPN, is to make sure that we are in adherence with all requirements related to promotion of sports betting on college campuses.
In that line, we were also concerned about underage gambling, and particularly young men in college, who are probably underage. And what are your thoughts and what have you done to ensure that that is done, sir?
Well, while we do engage in some general promotion of betting across linear media, our targeted marketing messages are for those that we've identified as being 21 or over in age. And that's the case both on the Penn side as well as our partners at ESPN.
Commissioners, any other?
I just have one question. I've been reading that ESPN is going to use their branding as a means of promoting, the effort. Will that promotion include, as you use the term, generalized promotion on coverage of college games, just on their other programming? Is that going to be if you do promote it during general programming, college football games or college basketball games or whatever it is? How is that approach going to be?
Yeah, I think we take it very seriously about not targeting college students in our marketing efforts. There's obviously discussion around betting and sporting events as part of the editorial. And from the ESPN perspective, I think that is one thing that leads to an increased engagement from the audience who's interested in betting. There are restrictions around promotion of sports betting with college athletics, both from a conference standpoint and network standpoint. And so our commitment would be to make sure that we adhere to those standards. Well, it could change, but the conferences do not permit advertising during some of the college games, and there would be no integrations inside the conference. Well, I'm referring to on TV. We've not done any sort of promotions on college campus. I know there's a few operators who've done stuff, hopefully partner with colleges. That's not something that we've ever done or would consider.
Or would consider?
It's not something we would consider.
Okay.
Does ESPN get into any name, image, and likeness activity?
Not to my knowledge.
My question is more for Rob. How many did we originally approve when this all started?
If I remember correctly, it was 8 platforms and 9 operators.
9 operators, and now we've consolidated by 2, so we're at 7. Is that the right?
No, it's still 8 and 9. It's the 2 that have consolidated, or not consolidated, but switched to new operators.
In the review, and I read a lot of it, but certainly not all of it, I don't remember seeing in there what the net benefit was to the state about sort of this consolidation generally.
Again, I don't think it's a consolidation at this point because like Penn is not operating in New York right now. So with them taking over Wynn, who's leaving, it's a 1-for-1 exchange. So I wouldn't refer to that as a consolidation. It's just a swap of the ownership of the license thing.
Do we think there'll be increased handle because of it overall? Or is it just as a new competitor, they're reordering the pie that exists?
Wynn had not been particularly successful in the New York market. So we would anticipate that a new platform coming in with a highly recognized name like ESPN Bet might do better than they have been, whether that is simply dividing the pie or whether it's growing the pie. I think I would leave that to what the different entities are that are considering that.
And maybe we should hear from you on that.
Sure, yeah, look, our view is that ESPN Bet will expand the market. That's been our experience in other jurisdictions where we've launched. We think we're attracting a new bettor. And while there could be some shifting and cannibalization of existing operators, we think we are growing the market.
Said other jurisdictions.
In other jurisdictions, we've
What does
launched
that look
ESPN
like
Bet.
when you get there?
Well, we saw initially a large wave of adoption. So a lot of signups, first-time depositors, a lot
With you,
with ESPN Bet, yes.
that's not necessarily the pie, right? Same dollars having a better home or?
No, I think we've seen that the handle on those markets went up. So you saw increased play as people were trialing a new operator. And I think some of this is anecdotal, but based on the surveys we've done of customers, we believe that we are attracting new customers who are new to betting.
When do you expect it to become operating in New York?
Yeah, so assuming that we get approval here today, we do have a couple of boxes to check and make sure that we are right from a technology standpoint and ready. But we would be prepared to launch in a matter of several days, perhaps even a soft launch in advance of the weekend and take approval here today.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the transaction? Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The transaction is approved. At the June meeting, I issued a call for volunteers to serve on a commission-established advisory board to assist in evaluating the proper use of monies received by the Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund and the Agriculture and New York State Horse Breeding Development Fund to be allocated for the care of retired horses. Specifically, the funds receive fines assessed pursuant to Section 382 of the Agricultural and Markets Laws, contributions made pursuant to Section 209N and 209O of the tax law, and contributions made pursuant to Sections 630I and 630J of the tax law. I am pleased to report that we received nearly 30 statements of interest in response. While the staff culled the list to a manageable dozen, I believe the commission would be best served by establishing a small committee to evaluate statements of interest and the experience and qualifications of those last dozen applicants. Accordingly, before us is a resolution that will allow for the establishment of a committee of commissioners to select persons to serve on such an advisory board and create a process to affect the appointments of the members of the advisory board. In other words, it would not come back to the commissioners, it would be final by the committee. Therefore, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 1 of 2024 regarding the delegation of authorities to establish an advisory board? I have polled the commissioners, and Commissioner Machete and Commissioner Skurnick, who have kindly volunteered to be part of this committee, to serve along with me to evaluate the many people. And I want to thank everybody who applied, because it really was wonderful that we got such great interest, to evaluate and then to appoint a advisory board pursuant to law. And that the number would be chosen or be selected by the committee. So may I have will someone move that motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? No. That is that the resolution carried. Mr. Williams.
Over 25 years ago, the American Gaming Association dedicated a specific week each year to increase awareness of problem gambling among the gaming industry and to promote responsible gaming nationwide. A few years ago, their initiative was extended to cover the entire month of September as Responsible Gaming Education Month. As has been discussed at previous meetings, the commission has deep relationships with the New York Council on Problem Gambling and the Office of Addiction Services and Supports, or OASIS. We also seek to increase public awareness of the issue and promote the growing availability of prevention, treatment, and recovery services for those in need. Additionally, we try to recognize the myriad of organizations and gaming operators that incorporate problem gambling prevention and responsible gaming practices into their everyday operations. Given today's meeting occurs during 2024's Responsible Gaming Education Month, we thought it was appropriate to highlight the work of commission staff that have been conducting in the responsible gaming arena. Over the past few months, such work has recently received national recognition. In July, the National Council on Problem Gambling selected the Commission's Small Risk and Big Gamble campaign for the annual Gift Responsibly Campaign Award. This month, the North American Association of State and Provincial Lotteries announced its 2024 award recipients for the most creative, innovative, and inspiring work produced among the North American lottery industry. Within the responsible gaming category, 4 awards are given to communication campaigns that best convey the message and/or raise awareness of problem gambling or treatment resources. This year, the Commission's Division of the Lottery won 3 of the 4 Responsible Gaming Communications Awards for radio, for digital and social media, and for coordinated campaign. At this time, I'd like to introduce Carolyn Hateman and Dana Edema, who are joining us from Schenectady to provide us an overview of the campaigns. Ms. Hateman works in our Office of Public Information and serves as the primary liaison with the problem gambling and responsible gaming industries, while Dana works as the Director of Lottery Advertising. Before I begin, I also want to recognize our team at the lottery's advertising partner, McCann, and particularly Kara Wang, for their outstanding work. McCann works very closely with Carolyn and Dana in developing and executing campaigns.
Thank you, Executive Director Williams, Chair O'Dwyer, and Commissioners for highlighting the strategic campaign that continues to resonate with stakeholders across the country. The goal of the Small Risk, Big Gamble campaign is to bring practical meaning to the gaming industry's all too familiar call to please play responsibly. We accomplish that point by pointing out some of the risky behaviors that can turn the fun experience into a frustrating one, thus increasing the potential for problem play and possibly opening the door to problem gambling. The risky behaviors we highlight include gambling without a budget or preset time limit, prioritizing gambling over other recreational options, hiding time spent gambling from family and friends, giving a lottery ticket to someone under the age of 18 when there's research that shows the earlier a person begins to gamble, the higher the likelihood that they will develop a gambling problem later in life. Since the campaign's launch, we've received positive feedback from our colleagues in the responsible gaming space and social service fields, as well as from gaming operators. We've fielded multiple requests from clinicians and licensed operators to display the campaign, which goes well beyond its intended scope. I'll turn it over now to Dana Idema to discuss the specific elements of the Small Risk, Big Gamble campaign.
Thank you. As Executive Director Williams noted, the award-winning public service campaign was produced by our advertising agency partner, McCann New York. Building on what Carolyn said, this campaign uses humor to distinguish minor, everyday risks from the more serious issue of problem gambling. For example, in one ad, we presented the small risk of drinking coffee while driving and compared it with the big gamble of driving up your gambling debt. By framing the message in that positive way, it makes a lasting impression. Small Risk, Big Gamble connected with New Yorkers through a variety of media channels in English and Spanish, including radio, online video, television, out-of-home, digital, social media, and at approximately 14,000 New York lottery retailers. Since its launch last November, the campaign achieved substantial reach across New York State with over 78 million media impressions and nearly $785,000 in media value. Our research shows that the pieces are making an impact, as awareness of the lottery promoting responsible gaming has been steady for the past 2 years, with a slightly higher rate against players versus all respondents. We have 2 brief examples of the campaign to display, starting with sushi. Sound. Is there sound? I guess there wasn't sound. Maybe we have sound on the next one. The second piece is called Drool.
First, Carolyn, or 1 second, Dana, we're getting it fixed.
Okay, thank you. And here's sushi again, I think.
This is
Nope.
Meg. She's gambling she can hit snooze again and still get to work on time. But Meg knows some moves are too risky, like giving a lottery ticket to anyone under 18. There she goes. We all take risks in life. Just gamble responsibly.
These and other public service announcements may be viewed on the lottery's YouTube page. Thank you.
Just gamble responsibly. This is Alan. He's choosing to gamble on eating cheap gas station sushi. But when he gambles with money, Alan always makes responsible choices, like setting and sticking to his financial limits. Good luck, Alan. We all take risks in life. Just gamble responsibly.
Thank you. As chairman of the commission and speaking for my fellow commissioners, I just want to thank you to Carolyn and Dana for your work. We are obviously quite proud of the work that we have presented and the fact that this is an award-winning presentation. You represent the best of state service. Thank you very much for your work in this regard. We are extremely and extraordinarily proud of you and the work that you have done for this commission. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any new or old business before the commission? Before the adjourn, I'd have a few comments that I'd like to make. I would report on many of the activities that I've done on behalf of the commission and concerns the last time we met. Of particular concern to me are that 2 of our VLT licensees, potential bidders for a new casino license, have been cited in Las Vegas for various violations of the law. In August, the Nevada Gaming Control Board filed a 12-count complaint against Resort World Las Vegas, for allegedly violating the anti-laundering law by allowing illegal bookmakers to gamble in the millions of dollars. The allegations in the complaint are particularly disturbing in that it alleges a culture of non-compliance, in that information on illegal or suspicious activity was either negligently or worse, willfully disregarded to promote financial gain. Another of our potential licensees, Wynn Resorts, through its subsidiary Wynn Las Vegas, entered into agreement with the United States Department of Justice, wherein it forfeited $130 million relating to an investigation of Wynn, which revealed that Wynn was involved with an unlicensed money agent using foreign bank accounts to funnel money to China and other countries to patrons who were ineligible to access cash in the United States. These allegations are serious, but I must emphasize that in one instance, the complaint is still pending, and in the other, the USD Department of Justice settled the matter without filing criminal charges. Nevertheless, it is the responsibility of this commission to assure that our licensees exhibit the utmost integrity and have established robust procedures with their employees to assure strict compliance with our laws and regulations. As many are aware, the last step in awarding the licensings of the 3 potential casinos in New York lays not with the casino, with the location board, but with us. And I can assure all our stakeholders that this commission will conduct a thorough review of all candidates forward to us by the site selection committee. In doing so, we will review all relevant data as to whether a potential licensee possesses the qualifications to hold a casino license. And we will thoroughly review all relevant material, including, of course, the allegations lodged against Wynn and Resorts World. Each day, thousands of New Yorkers enjoy betting on sports, and the state reaps enormous benefits from that activity. As we saw during the meeting, the commission takes seriously its responsibility to aid those who have difficulty in managing their gambling. In addition to our activities in dealing with problem gambling, each day our staff reviews potential betting opportunities presented by our licensees. No betting is allowed or publicized without our prior approval, and we have blocked entire categories of betting as inappropriate, including, as we well know, proposition betting on college sports. It is our responsibility to protect the consumers in these transactions. In that regard, I looked with great alarm about the recent proposal by DraftKings to implant a 20% surcharge on any payout of winning bets. I view that proposal as both misleading and detrimental to the consumer. I am, of course, pleased that the proposal has been withdrawn. And I remind all our licensees, however, that this commission is committed to protecting the consuming public, and that any proposal, such as the one advanced by DraftKings, will be subject to the strictest scrutiny and, if appropriate, be rejected. Today, we approved a new corporation to participate in the New York market. Obviously, New York remains an attractive venue for those who are in the business of sports betting. And I see no reason why we should alter our present regulatory or taxing environment. I also wanted to bring to attention of the question of the New York State Lottery. As we know, the New York State Lottery continues to be North America's largest and most profitable lottery. Surprisingly, many people are unaware where those profits go. The state constitution mandates that all lottery profits go directly to education. And since 1967, our lottery has generated over $86 billion for our public schools. Generations after generations of New York have walked in halls, sat in classrooms, played sports, and performed at these schools, all because of the New York State Lottery. Or to put it another way, every time we play the New York Lottery, even if we win, our public schools, even if we lose, our public schools win. Earlier this year, understanding that, I requested our lottery division and its advertisers, McCann, New York, to come up with a plan to increase the awareness of this important mission and to have each New Yorker know that when they played, that money went directly to education. While the Benefiting Public Schools campaign initially started in March with some free advertising. Today's meeting coincidentally marks the next step of the campaign with television and radio ads. And I refer you now to the win promotional tickets that very clearly state it benefits public schools and then shows how much the lottery supported education, 3.7 million in the last year. I'd like to ask Deputy Executive Lee Park to briefly go over the campaign and show us one of the commercials.
Thank you. At Chairman O'Dwyer's direction, the Division of the Lottery, under the leadership of Director Gwen Keating and Marketing Sales Director Richard Ottinger, and executive staff, worked with McCann New York to build a comprehensive campaign to remind New Yorkers how lottery revenue helps support New York schools. The campaign, as we said, began in spring with existing assets, including a benefiting New York Public Schools webpage, where users can see how much money their school district has received in lottery revenue. And we've incorporated similar themed messaging on all of our public-facing assets, including the daily live drawings, player newsletters, draw game tickets, and retailer displays. And we've also been doing organic social media posts. The next phase, which launched at the beginning of the summer, included paid elements throughout the summer, including Link NYC ads across Manhattan, sponsorship for the Summer Stage concert series, online advertising and expanded social media, and again, draw games, play slips, and stick game ticket backs. We had a display at the New York State Fair that was focused on education, kind of matching along with the theme of the ticket, including the educational promotional scratch off itself. And today we launched a full integrated campaign, including television, messaging at retail, out of home, print, digital displays, social, and more. The television and radio spots are airing in English and Spanish and were produced by McCann New York. Before we show the spot, the lottery has been conducting research to accurately gauge the public's perception of where lottery revenue goes and whether it impacts their decision to play. Among the notable findings, the percentage of the population accurately identifying education as the New York Lottery's beneficiary increased 4 points between March and August, from 24.3% to 28.3%. And those who view aid education advertising, such as this campaign, as a major reason to play grew 2 times since the campaign launched. It's reasonable to expect that these numbers will only continue to grow as the campaign enters its next phase. So I think, Brad, we're going to try to bring up the ad here.
In New York, all that anyone is looking for is a chance. In a place with endless possibility, New York Public Schools gives students the chance to find their voice in a chorus of millions, to play their first notes before striking a chord with the rest of the world, to learn small lessons in the gym before shining in the league, to not just study the stars, but see them up close. And every time you take a chance on the New York Lottery, our schools win.
Those on TV and during the course of the next couple of months. The last thing I'd like to report is that, as Mr. Williams indicated, that work is progressing in Belmont. Among that is the new workers' housing that we have promoted. And I expect that to be open relatively soon. Soon as that is open, of course, I'll hope we can all go out and visit it. It's truly a remarkable facility. We saw the one up in Saratoga that just opened, and really is a major improvement for the workers out there. And we look for the same in Belmont. Mr. Williams and I continue to work with the racetrack chaplaincy. We have regular meetings with them to assure that the workers at the racetrack, on both racetracks, are taken care of. And we expect to similarly work with Finger Lakes to significantly improve workers' housing in that facility. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.